All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. So excited for today's guest. We have Jojo out in Salt Lake City, Utah, who is the creator of Holistic Hype, and she is a self-love coach, a Reiki healer, and just an overall amazing energy. I came across her Instagram page and was just really impressed by her impact that she was, looking to make on other people and, posting so many positive things and just sharing her vibe with the world. And so I wanted to have a conversation with her. So I'm super excited for you guys to meet her. And without further ado, let me introduce everybody to Jojo. Jojo, if you could do me a favor and just, so you're not a complete stranger, if you could share with everybody who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Jojo and my brand is Holistic Hype, and I basically am wanting to influence the world to get out of their comfort zones and to step into their authenticity and to really question who they are and what they like and what they don't like, and to really find their true selves in this world full of chaos and bullshit, essentially. So I'm just trying to live a life that inspires people to live a more mindful, conscious, aware life so we can step into our true power of who we really are.
Love that. Love that. And I like the way you just said that too. You just said, I'm inspiring people. I want to inspire people to live a life, meaning you're first living the life as an example, which I love how you just put that. I don't know if you purposely put that, you probably did, but regardless, that's what I saw from your page, as someone that first and foremost was living that life. And, for those that are inspired by that, they can, become more aware of how you're doing it and, maybe go on that journey with you. So I love how you said that. Did you say that on purpose that way?
I'm just flowing right now.
Love it. Well, so holistic hype. Tell me about that as far as like the name goes. I mean, the name itself is just like energy. It just speaks of really good energy. How did you come up with that, and what's that mean to you, that name?
So I, like 4 years ago, I was in a really unhealthy relationship. I had back problems. I had really bad anxiety, depression. Never looked at doctors to heal me. And so one day I started just like walking and in nature and taking deep breaths and starting to move my body. And then my mindset began to change. And then I started getting like enlightenments for my higher self of like, you got to leave this relationship. You got to do this. And it became so clear of what I had to do because I started taking action. And as I began to heal myself at this all-time low, I saw that holistic healing is what it's everything incorporated. It's not just one pill that's not going to heal you. It's not just one doctor. Like, you can't put someone on a pedestal to heal you. It's your whole life has to change. Your whole mindset has to change. And it's the holistic way of living that will truly give you a satisfying, healthy, quality, happy life. So I really got passionate about holistic health and living. And then I love the word hype. I think I've like always been like a hype personality, and I want to make holistic hype like a lifestyle and a way to be, and like knowing that you will be your number one human always, 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 always. You're your number one forever and always.
Absolutely. I love that. All of us, you're right. We have to first take care of our own energy and our own vibe and make sure that, we're feeling good and that we have, something to, if we want to give something in the world, we're not first taking care of ourselves. Like, we really don't have anything to give. I'll encounter people that, they want to help people and they want to, spread love and, all of those things. But they're not walking around being loving right now. Maybe they have some things going on in their life and they're worried or frustrated or anxious. And it's not possible for us to give any energy to another human being that we don't first have, ourselves to give. So I love that so much. Well, very nice. Well, so my question then is, how did you go from, because obviously this is stuff that has helped you and has been important in your life. I'm always curious how, people make the switch to, now I want to help, other people, with this as well, because it's one thing to live our lives and, be a great example. And I think that's probably one of the best things that we can do as far as teaching other people, is first being an example ourselves, like you said. But then how did you kind of make the switch as far as, well, I want to like spread this around the world and I want to like help as many people as possible with this. Like, how did that happen for you?
Because I started with slow changes in my life, empowering myself. I started inspiring myself. Like when I was first in my health state, I was watching Infinite Waters, Till Swan. I was feeding my mind of information and inspiration. But then you get to a point where you start implementing all these teachings and you start acting on it. And then you don't need any of that stuff, and you just start to see that you are your own guru. You have the wisdom inside if you start to live it, breathe it, act it, think it, believe it. And I just want to show people that they are their own gurus, and to put someone on a pedestal above them will always keep them stagnant. And if you're stagnant, you will stagnate the process of becoming in a peaceful, loving, godlike state, essentially.
Mm.
Not to get all like
No,
too
no.
woo.
I love where you're
The,
going with that. Keep going.
the more you the more you embrace uncomfortableness in your life and struggle, and the more you realize and see that it's the biggest catalyst that will shift you and propel you forward. Because if I didn't go through my health state of my back injury, my bad relationship, my bad eating habits, my lack of working out, my people pleasing ways, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have. It shot me up to be so hyped on health and being your greatest version. And it's like I couldn't keep this in, because I was empowering myself right before my eyes. I was watching my vibration change right before my eyes. My body changed, my mindset, my whole life. Opportunities started to be like, everything just started changing for me. And it's like, when shit like that happens, you can't keep it in.
Of
Like, that
course.
would be extremely like rude of me, and pretty much in the face to God. It's like, this is my calling and purpose. I have so much fire and energy and passion for this, because this is it. Like, this is a message that the world is craving right now, in a world full of facades and people telling you how to live, what to do, and what to wear and what to think. It's like, we have to take our power back, because if we don't, we will always be victims in anxiety and depression.
Mm. I love what you're saying. So, what you just highlighted is something that when we realize as human beings, because you just described a lot of experiences in your past that basically catapulted you to where you are right now, and fueled the desires that you have to create all this cool stuff that you're creating. And that's one thing for all of us, that if we can realize that even if we're going through some challenging experiences right now, we're human, it's okay. Those experiences though are molding us and creating, firing us up for desires that we'll have and that we'll want to live out, that without those, crappy experiences or rough experiences, we wouldn't be, on the path that we're on right now. We wouldn't have these same desires. Like, the only reason that we want a lot of the things that we want is because of experiencing things that, were the opposite, or, just like you mentioned, if we're in a crappy relationship, then, what are we saying? We want a better relationship. And, now we kind of have a clearer picture of what that looks like. And so I love that. And then what you also described, you said something else that really inspired me. Once we kind of can recognize that we have these desires, and we, just do what we can do with what we have from where we are. Like, we may not know all the details of, how it's all going to look, a year or 2 years from now. Like, we won't know a lot of those details, and we don't need to. But if we just start on the journey, a lot of the information that you mentioned, starts coming into your life. Like you mentioned some other, spiritual teachers. And but then I love also what you said as far as, you started getting that information, and you started going out there and living your life, and you realized that you didn't need, all that information anymore. You were just now evolving into who you are now, and who you're going to be. And I love that, because all the information that's come into my life, whether it be a book or a spiritual teacher, it's been great to have that, more than anything, just to become aware that, okay, this information exists. Like when law of attraction first came into my life, I'm like, wow, okay, I wasn't aware that this exists, but now that I'm aware, let me start applying it in my life and then seeing evidence, and then it takes us onto a path of, wherever we're going. So I love that you just said all that. I just said so many things. I'm happy that I was able to get all that out because you inspired me to say like
I
5 different things just now. I love it. You have anything that you want to piggyback off of any of that stuff? That was really good. Everything that you just said.
Yeah, I want to let people know that the darkness is the most beautiful place to be in, because it will essentially show you the biggest light in the darkness. If we don't see darkness and we don't begin to embrace the darkness, then we won't know what we're truly made of. I mean, as much as I am light and I'm sending love and I'm stoked, I can be just as dark. We have this duality, and for us to try to deny our inner darkness is us trying to deny the yin yang. Not everything's like happy and flowers. Like, we have to go through that like angry, evil, like part of us, and give that love. And then we start to see the whole of the yin yang. The seed in the ground is going through darkness and struggle and hell, but then it gets to a light and it's just bliss and peace, and the simple observer. It had to go through the darkness. I think everyone's trying to push away the darkness, push away the anxiety, trying to deny that it's not a part of them. But it is a part of you, because we are everything. We are everything. We are the darkness as much as we are the light. It's what we consciously choose after experiencing both of what we want to give energy to. I've been through the darkness. I've been there. I've explored it. I loved it. I embrace it now, and it has freed so much anxieties for me. And I have kids writing me, like, oh, I have these thoughts. Is this sexual stuff bad? Like, all these things that religion might have like put fear in our heads about. And it's like, embrace it, bro. It's as simple as step into your little kid energy, and whatever feels good to your little kid, explore it. Why does it feel good? Why does it not feel good? My truth might not be your truth.
I love what you just said. Keep going. Keep going. No, keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Everyone has these egos, but everyone needs to like understand and be hyped on everyone's unique truths. Your darknesses and your lights are in a way different from mine, but like it's still the same, and it's still valid, because we are essentially, I am you, so it's a part of me, so I can learn from you. We need to understand that we can learn from everyone. Absolutely. And so for students, and so for people to think that, everyone's like walking around the planet acting like they have their shit together. Cool, I guess you make it, but let's be real right now. Like, let's be real and not try to kid ourselves about real life things. Like, let's relate with each other. Let's come back to common ground and take away gender, take away religion, take away, all these things separating us. See that we're all human, going through these human experiences, and some are light and some are dark, but they're all so beautiful because it's the human experience.
Absolutely.
Let's play.
I love it. I love it. And I love what you just said with little kid energy. I use that example so much, as far as if you want to see who and what we truly are, go outside and find any little kid playing with a stick or a rock or a leaf and just having the time of their life. Like, they don't care about all this stuff that, we're worried about as adults. Like, they're just truly experiencing what it's like being a human. And, then they might cry, 5 minutes later, and then they'll be back to playing, with their rock and their stick again. Like, it's the whole experience, like you said. And for us to, try to deny that is being very naive, because none of us can, because we are human. Like, for you listening to the podcast right now, do not think about a lightning storm right now. Don't think about a stormy, cloudy day. There's not a person that is trying to not think about it that didn't just think about it. Anything that we give our attention to and try to resist, try to push against, it just becomes more of our energy. So if we try to,
Yeah.
deny those dark days or those sad days, it just becomes even more of our energy, and we just get stuck there because we're trying to,
Yeah.
act like it doesn't exist. It does exist. And
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about it is we have so much more appreciation for the sunny, warm, beautiful days, if that's what you like, because of those stormy, dark, cloudy, rainy days, if that's what you don't like. I mean, embrace it all, and you get to enjoy, the little, appreciations of all of it, because there are parts to every part of life to appreciate. So I love that you just said that. Little kid energy. That's my favorite thing that that any of us can pay attention to, because I always say animals and little kids are really great teachers for all of us, because they're just being present to life, and they're not trying to act a certain way or prove anything, or they're just being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get off that real quick. There's this quote that I heard on a podcast on Aubrey Marcus. I don't know if you listen to it, but it goes, "What you damns you back."
Mm-hmm.
So anything that's bold, anything that you think is not right, it will damn you back. So it's a double-edged sword. So basically, I believe that Taoism is like, makes sense for me. It's just the belief that everything is valid, everything is perfect. You are where you're supposed to be right now. The world is actually functioning perfectly. Perfectly. We can sit there and be like, oh, that's not right. That's not, it's all right. You just have to find that internal bliss and just focus on you, focus on that, your little kid self that's still there, and just start to breathe your stomach and start to have this mindset that it's all perfect. You just
Absolutely.
have to get, you just have to get centered with your little kid heart space and just do you, bro. Just do control that you can control yourself. Just focus on that.
Absolutely. And if you do that, what Jojo is saying, you're so much more fun to be around, because if you're just doing you and you're taking care of your own, happiness and what's important to you first and foremost, people want to be around you, because they want to live that way also, and if they're not right now, they want to know how the heck can you live that way. And just, it's because they see that it's not about some external thing that's making you happy. So many people feel like, when I get this career, or when I get this relationship, or when I get this amount of money, then I'm going to be happy, which that's never the case. They're happy for like 1.3 seconds, and then they're like, oh, now I'm still not happy. And so for those that can just be and just enjoy the whole experience of life, and their happiness can just come from within, then that's where we can actually be really valuable to the world, and anything that we want to put that energy towards and create, it's infused with that really happy, passionate, loving, creative energy, and that's how everything that we see around us was created. The only reason that any of us, like I'm sitting in a chair right now, the only reason that someone at some point in human history created a chair is because they were probably tired of sitting on the floor. So it's the experiences that we have in life where it's like, I really don't like this, going on in the world right now. Well, that's an opportunity there. If you're inspired to do it, go create something that can change it. Don't get stuck on this isn't right, this isn't right, I hate this. Those things are perfect just the way they are, just like Jojo said, because that's sparking the desire, maybe not in you, but in someone, to want to actually go out there and create something that actually evolves the world to its next place. And that's how it's been since the beginning of time. I mean, look at the world today compared to even 100 years ago. I mean, we're all walking around with all this technology, and it's just because people said, I don't like this about the world. I want to be more connected. I don't want to write a holiday letter, a Christmas letter in July and hope it gets there by December by the Pony Express. Like, I want to be able to just immediately get communication to people right away. I want to FaceTime with my family, all of these things. So I love that you that you just mentioned all that. Lovely, lovely. I'm gonna let you flow something, and if you don't, I have a question for you that I've been asking everybody that I really want to know from you. But if you have anything else that you want to add to that, I'll let you, or else I have a question for you.
Okay, I could babble all day long, but yeah, I have one more thing to say.
No,
And
anything you want, pour it out. It's fun.
I
love it.
want everyone to know that suppression is depression. Little kids scream and cry and get out their energy immediately as they feel it. They're not suppressing it and trying to make logic of it. Sometimes you got to get in your feminine energy and just feel completely, whether that's like hitting a pillow or screaming or running your ass off or going swimming and or just sweating or just letting out energy. Ecstatic dance is amazing. Sports like yoga, whatever it is, that's the adult way of letting out and releasing energy, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed, just transferred. So essentially everything that we go through, all our experiences are held in our bodies. And so if you've been through a lot of shit, you might have tight shoulders. To release some of that energy, we have to move our bodies and we have to express ourselves 100%. If you feel like you want to randomly freaking scream, do it. I was watching The Grinch the other day with my sister, and she was like, I feel like the Grinch probably is just completely present because he's so weird and he's so random and just like, ugh! Like he's probably present because he's releasing, he's constantly basically like clearing his energies of the old and detoxing all the time, because he's doing what he feels. He's not questioning it or holding it in. He's just expressing it, even if it's through journaling or whatever. And so that's why I want people to feel like they can embrace their authenticity and their weirdness, because once you start doing that and you really step into that little kid that really does not care, you will find this freedom and this beautiful magnetism, and you'll start attracting people that are like you. And then you no longer have to have a certain front. You no longer have to put all these masks, just to fit in the mold. You really just start to express your human, in a human way, your energies, and all these energies are flowing through us all the time, of emotions and good emotions and bad emotions, and we need to embrace those emotions because they're so beautiful.
I love it. I love it. And I love what you just said, as far as when you start to really, start living your life in this energy, how you begin to attract other people that are also in this energy. Life becomes so much fun when we start to see that happening. Like, I love sharing a planet with 7 billion of you guys out there, 7.6 billion of you guys. And I can't talk to all of you guys yet in our different languages, but I still feel connected with you. And they're actually changing that with technology. Like, we'll be able to communicate with all of each other very, very soon. I know it. But for now, I love sharing a planet with so many of you, because I'm constantly seeing people like you, Jojo, that all of a sudden show up in my path, and we have these amazing conversations. And that's one of the big reasons that I wanted to start this podcast, because I wanted to have more amazing conversations. And I just know that when someone like Jojo is bringing her energy to a conversation and I'm bringing mine, where the energy goes together is somewhere that neither of us can go by ourselves, because we're combining energy and we're going somewhere in this conversation that is just awesome. And that's always the case with all of you listening. Whenever you're experiencing life with another human being, you're bringing your energy, they're bringing theirs, and all that you can control is your energy. And if you can really decide how you want to present yourself to the world, do you want to be someone that is filled with passion, filled with love, filled with joy, happiness? How do you want to present yourself to the world, especially when you're interacting with other human beings? And then you'll attract those that also have that intention, and where you guys can go together is really, really fun. So I love that you just inspired me to say that. You've inspired a lot of stuff out of me today, Jojo. This is a lot of fun, your conversation with you so far. So I've learned that I have to let you chime in before I ask any questions. So I'm not going to ask you the next question until I know that you've poured out everything that you want to pour out, because I like what's coming out of you. So
I just want to embrace or inspire people to really embrace your throat chakra. And if there's something you feel, say it. If someone gave you a present that you're probably not going to use, just be like, get out of your comfort zone and don't be scared to hurt people, because you holding in your truth and expressing your authentic feelings it's not saving the people from your truth. It's actually making them weaker. You have to have the strength and the confidence in yourself to speak your truth, and it might hurt them for a second, but it's actually the most exhilarating and refreshing thing to hear someone actually speak their freaking truth. Like, I don't know, in my relationship now, it's so healthy, and I'm just 100% honest, and even if it hurts him, I'm just being me, because I want him to embrace and to know and to love the true me. And so I just want people to be like the little kid who they just say it how it is. And it's kind of like, oh, but like it's refreshing because I think we can all sense bullshit. I think we can all sense subconsciously when we're being lied to, deceived, and so I think it's so exhilarating and so fun to, when people ask me a question, I'm like, okay, like, do you really want to ask that? Because I will be straight up with you. Like, you can count on if I'll give you my opinion and what I think, but do you really want it? Because I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to. And I'm trying to get people to step into the power of your throat and your heart, that throat chakra and heart chakra connection, and speak your honest truth and opinion. And just, you can do it in the nicest way, but like, people will think you're such a breath of fresh air. And I believe in tough love, and sometimes love hurts, but it's the biggest thing that will grow you. The things that hurt you can be the biggest catalyst to grow you and to make you stronger.
Love that.
I guess now, but speak your truth.
So I have to piggyback on that. This is really good. So when they say it's not what you say, but how you say it, think about that totally different, because it's what that means to me is what energy am I in when I'm saying it. So, when Jojo's saying speak your truth, it's not like she's, being truthful with her partner and saying, I'm going to say the meanest thing I can to him right now because I want to just cut him below the belt. That's not her intention. Like, she's saying it still with a loving energy and just a truthful energy, and just but so the words that she's saying, now her partner has a choice as far as how he wants to receive them. If he wants to say, oh, like, why would she say that to me, and be critical or judgmental of what, she's saying, then he's going to receive that a certain way. But if he's like, wow, I'm like, really appreciate, you being, straightforward and honest with me, now that appreciation energy is what he's going to receive, what she just said. And so she's sharing it in the energy of love and of appreciation, and he's receiving it in that. So it will hit home, and it'll be, it'll make the most impact. So it's when I hear that saying, it's not what we say, it's how we say it. It's what's our energy that we're delivering, whatever we're saying. And when I'm interacting with people and, just living in the world, I don't really think much beyond like, what's my energy in this present moment? Because if my energy is of passion and of love and of happiness or whatever it is, if I know that I'm in that energy and I'm going out into the world, the only thoughts that I can receive are a match to that energy. So the only words that I can speak are a match to that energy, and the only actions that I can take are a match to that energy. So I don't have to constantly be asking myself, is this okay to say? It's always okay to say if it's coming from an energy of, of that high vibe, that loving, that joy, that passion. And there's so many other words that, it's just language, but that energy is the important thing to think about. And the opposite is also true. If I know I'm leaving the house and I'm frustrated, I've been having a challenging, day, I'm going to make sure I'm not going to talk to many people, because I don't want to be thinking and speaking out of my mouth. And I've kind of taken it further than that. I like to really get my energy to where I like it to be before I even go out into the world. That's just something personally that is important to me. But if I know that, it's just been a challenging day and I got to go run an errand, then I'm not going to be purposely, running my mouth and talking, because the thoughts that those words are coming from are just not, I don't want to put that on to another human being, and they could probably already feel it from me anyway. So do them a favor and just keep your mouth shut, because you're not going to say anything worthwhile for them. Yeah, exactly. We all have those things where we can, artificially bump our energy up, even if it's just finding, a funny, YouTube video, or, a picture of our family on our phone. Like, there's always things that we can, if that's our intention, we can, bump our energy up a little bit. Episode 1, I talk about the green zone chart that I created. That's all about just being aware of human emotion, and, not being perfect, because none of us are that, and that's not the point of it, but just being aware. And if we're aware, then we can choose to do something about it. And, that's what I'm all about, is the power of choice. So love it. Okay, question for you, Jojo. With this pause in our conversation, I have an opportunity to ask you a question now. So the question that I've been really enjoying asking everyone, and it's a question that I asked myself that really, sparked me wanting to share as much as I could, with the world while I'm here, because knowing that tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, and, if today were my last, I ask myself, have I poured out everything that I could, that I become aware of, that's helped me in my life, so that if I'm not here tomorrow, another human being could come across, maybe a YouTube video that I created, or, a course or a podcast or whatever it is, and be impacted by, some of those things that I was aware of while I was here. For you, what are some of those things where it's like, okay, if this is the only thing that they ever hear from JoJo, I want to make sure that humanity hears this from me, so that, whenever they come across this, it could impact their lives. You've already shared a lot of this stuff too. So, you've been saying this stuff the whole time, but I have to know.
I guess I want people to understand that this too shall pass, whether it's good or bad. And the struggle is the biggest catalyst for growth. So I guess it's embrace the struggle, embrace the darkness. This too shall pass. And what goes down must come up eventually. So find the lesson in every struggle and darkness, and even in the light, find the lesson, and your life will begin to change, because you will see that every situation and every person that you come into will teach you something and is actually making you a stronger version of yourself. So you need to be grateful for the struggle and for the darkness, because it's really there to help you. The irony is the darkness is there to make you stronger and to make you more at peace. So if we can learn to have that mindset of having gratitude for the struggle and embracing all of it and coming to peace with it, then we're no longer trying to push away things that's actually just a part of us. We just let it flow. And then once you finally embrace all of it 100%, like truly just accept everything, then you're no longer a victim. You start to be an observer, and then you start to be a learner, and then you start to implement, and then you start to level up right before your eyes.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And yes, if life was all just rainbows and unicorns running around all day long, we probably wouldn't do much. It would just be like, we'd be so bored out of our minds. We wouldn't create anything. We would just be like, why am I even here? Like, let me just be energy and just, I don't need these physical bodies. Like, I'm not creating anything anyways. We're just laying around because it's just rainbows and unicorns all day. And so,
nope. Get out.
You may be listening to this right now and you'd be like, my life has been really rough. I would love some rainbows and unicorns. And that may be true, but if that's all it were, then none of us would be happy. We would be so bored out of our minds. We need the polarity. We need both sides of the coin in order to fully, live this life like we wanted to, when we came here. So really, really amazing. I love that. Okay, so Jojo, anything that what are you excited about right now? What do you want to promote to the world? How can people either connect with you as far as things that you're doing there locally or things that you're doing online? Like, what are you excited about going into 2019 as we're recording this the last week of 2018? What are you excited about right now?
I'm really excited to start coaching people one-on-one, start group coaching people. I'm really going to bust out a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm really going to spread my message full force. I'm just excited to get more raw and vulnerable with you guys. I mean, with me, I want to talk about everything under the sun. I want to talk about all the uncomfortable things that everyone's trying to hush about. I want to talk about everything and anything as loud as I can to bring unity and to bring common ground to everyone, because I think there's a lot of things that are wanting to be talked about, and I'm here to talk about it, and I'm not scared to talk about it, and I'm stoked to talk about it. So I'm really just consciously getting out of my comfort zone, and even doing this podcast, I was really nervous and excited, and I'm just stoked to not even think about it and to just jump into stuff, dude. Just jump into it. Don't overthink it. Get out of the comfort zone. Go into the cold shower. Go butt naked into the snow. Like, I'm just ready to run towards the fire and inspire everyone else to run towards their fires too.
Love it. Love it. Well, your example is first and foremost the best thing that any of us can do to go out there and try to help and inspire another human being is go live it ourselves. And you're obviously doing that. And that's the number one reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because it was obvious just me being on your Instagram page, and all of JoJo's information, her Instagram page and her links, or anything that she wants will be in the description of this. It'll be really easy to get in touch with her. Make sure that if you have any questions for her, what she's doing, what she has going on, make sure you get in contact with her. But that's the number one reason I wanted to have this conversation, because I could see that from your example that, that's what you were doing. And so anything, I'll say this, and this, in this short conversation that I've had with JoJo, just feeling her energy and the passion that she has for even what she just described, that she's excited about to create and, talk about and be loud about those topics that may be, taboo or not talked about or brushed over. I love that. Anything that she decides to create is going to be awesome. You're going to feel the energy that you're feeling from her in this podcast right now. And, if you can be connected with people like her and, just tap into that energy, because that's what I love about us as human beings. Like, I've been able to tap into JoJo's energy this whole conversation, and vice versa. And like I said, we've been able to go somewhere in this conversation that we couldn't go by ourselves. So imagine working with, on a regular basis, someone like JoJo, to where every time you're working with her, either whether it be in person or online or over the phone or whatever it might be, you're able to tap into that energy and then take that and go create with that energy. And you're adding yours to it, and you go somewhere in your creation process that you could never have gone by yourself. And that's why it's so amazing to be connected with and be working with people like JoJo. So I'm super excited that you guys are meeting her now, and I'm just stoked to follow your journey, JoJo, and see where you decide to take this. And I think all of us are going to create some pretty cool stuff, going forward, because we know that we can, and it's fun too. And it's stuff that we're going to be doing anyway. But you're just going to decide to record it. That's the only difference between what I'm doing with this podcast and what I was doing anyway in my life. I just decided to hit record so that we can share it with other people.
Love it.
Nice. Well, anything that you want to add as we close this out? You've already shared so many good things. Just making sure that there's nothing left inside of you that you want to share before we close out this enlightened conversation. I've had so much fun talking with you, though.
Yeah, me too. I just want you guys, like my inner Aries. If you guys feel like you spontaneously want to do something, but then you start questioning it, don't do it. If you randomly get a spurt of like spontaneity, act on it, because that's your soul trying to tell you like to do something. But then we sit and we try to use our ego and our logic to like figure out why we would do it. Sometimes you just have to do these things that you feel compelled to do. And when you do it, you'll start to begin to know yourself and trust yourself, and you'll see that this higher self, this like gut feeling, this like heart space is trying to lead you. Just do it. Like if you get like hit with like inspiration, write it down and do it. Like do the things that don't make sense to you, but it'll start to make sense once you start doing it. And when you start doing it, you will be in that love creative energy, and that's essentially like source energy, and you will actually find your highest path, and you'll start to walk your highest path, and you will live a fulfilling life. So just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
That's such good advice. Oh my goodness. That is amazing advice. And I could chime in on that, but I want to just leave it right there like that, because that is always a really good next step on our journey. When you're feeling like JoJo's describing, I always say if something's a hell yes to me, like I'm doing it. I don't second guess it, because regardless of what comes after that, that's a really good next step. And that's all I care about is like, in this moment, what's a good next step for my journey today, like in this moment. And if it's something that I'm excited about, I'm doing it, whether it be, reaching out to someone that I'm inspired to reach out to, or whatever it might be, or going out and playing in nature. It doesn't matter what it is. If I'm super excited about it, it's a hell yes action for me, then I'm doing it. So amazing advice.
And those of you who are perfectionists like I am, live by this quote: I never lose, I either win or I learn. You cannot lose. You will either win or you will learn. That's all.
Love it. And okay, I'm going to say this because I've seen you say this on Instagram a few times, and this is going to trigger some more of our conversation. I already know, but I have to say it. And, you know, we either win or we learn, but because our energy can only change forms and we're eternal, and we can never really, like, the only thing that, you know, ever really dies, like the worst thing that can happen, people say in quotes, is that we die, but that's just our physical body. And because energy just changes forms, we're never really, I mean, our physical body won't be here anymore, but you know, our energy is going to continue on, whatever that might look like. And you know, people have different opinions on what that might be. Do we experience another physical body here? Do we go off? You know, that's not the point. But once I got the piece of my energy just changing form, and that I don't have to be so worried about, you know, oh my gosh, am I gonna do everything I'm supposed to do while I'm here? And you know, am I getting, you know, following all these rules and doing all these things? Once I realized that that wasn't in play, and it was just, I'm here because I want to enjoy my time here, and I'm going to create while I'm here, and the world's going to expand while I'm here because me being here, and because JoJo's being here, because there's going to be desires that we have that we act on. And same for everybody listening to this. Because you're here, the world is going to be evolved, you know, because of the conversations that you're having that spark, you know, new things being created, or the things that you physically go out there and just create. You know, the world's never going to be the same because each one of you listening to this has been here. So that probably sparked a whole nother another thing in your mind. But I had to say, because I've seen you mention that, like your mentioning of, you know, we're all going to die. I've seen you say that multiple times on Instagram. I've only been connected with you for like a week, but I've seen you mention that to where I could tell that it wasn't like you're like so terrified of this part of life that's going to happen to us all.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that as we close? We're supposed to be closing this out, and I just sparked another.
We can close it now. Oh, okay. Yes. We are both a teacher and we are both a student simultaneously. We are both. So to think that you're just a teacher is too ego. To think that you're just a student is belittling yourself. We are both. Every situation and person, like I said, will teach us something, and we're teaching other people just by being. Like, oh, look at that person. She's standing up straight. Like how you just learned from her that, oh, that chick who has good posture is like getting like this respect and is radiating this certain energy, and you're learning from them. Even if nothing is being said, we are constantly observing and taking in things that we like or don't like, and then we're learning more about ourselves, and it's amazing. And so yeah, this physical body might be in the ground eventually, but it doesn't mean my consciousness of everything that I experienced is like dead, because I've gone through a lot of like I've seen metaphors, orbs and spirits and everything, and they are with us. Everything is happening simultaneously. Everything. So people who have passed on are here. Nothing is separated. Literally everything is all happening now. Everything that we need to be living in the now, because the only thing that exists right now is happening now. Nothing else truly matters except for how deep are you breathing? What are you vibrating? How do you feel? Question yourself and really fill it out. What could you do now to raise your vibration? What could you do now to feel better about yourself? It's all now, 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 now. Learn from the past, but then move on, give it gratitude, and then visualize your future, and then act in the now, how you can reach that future person and really visualize it and breathe it in the now. You are already it.
Love
you are
it.
already it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, we're gonna have to close this out because I'll have JoJo talking to me for hours and hours and hours. So we'll get her on for another enlightened conversation in the future. I'm sure, because we'll both run our mouths forever. This has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing your awesome energy with us, and it's really fun having you on. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Definitely share this with anyone that you're inspired to share this with. Let them experience Jojo's awesome energy. And I'm just excited for all of us to go out there and, to live out our desires, enjoy the moment, not worry so much about the details of how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who it's going to be, and all that stuff. And just know that everything that is awesome that's happened in our lives up until now, we couldn't predict all of those steps that happened between, where we started and where we are now anyway. So don't worry about that. Just enjoy the moment. Everything will come in perfect timing. It'll surprise you. It'll be a lot of fun. And that's how it'll always be for all of us. So have an amazing day. Jojo, I'm not going to stop this until I'm sure that you don't have anything else that you want to add. So if not, just Jojo signing off. But thank you for spending your time with us here. We really enjoyed having your energy on this podcast, and hope to talk to you soon again in the near future.
Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and let's talk again soon. Fun.
Love it. Bye guys. Have an amazing day.
Peace.